They're moving nukes around. The communist Chinese leader, for the first time I've ever seen, says prepare for war with the U.S. The world economy's melting down. That's when they started World War I and World War II. They're dispatching tattletale squads everywhere. It's all over the news that the government's tracking and listening to everything. There's not even a pretense now of the Fourth Amendment. Callers are sending me emails. Callers are calling in. Suddenly in Houston, Dallas, San Antonio. You know, the caller called about, have you seen the Dallas Morning News last week? TSA's on the streets of Dallas? And I'm like, no, but I knew they were going to be. And then I was checking my email and other stuff and looking online and comments, and now I learned it's every city everywhere, TSA now on the streets. I mean, I knew it was coming, but bam, baby, federal goons on the streets that are going to start putting their hands on you. I mean, this is hardcore martial law. And as soon as they start a false flag attacks, they're going to shut down my show. They're going to send idiot local police to arrest my butt, probably. I mean, and then these cops that come for me are little victims eating poison food and drinking poison water, and it's all admitted. I can't even hate them anymore. I'm so aware of how all this works. These are little moron victims. And then I look at my beautiful, decent children. I'm like, you know, why don't I just run to the hills, hide out in the country, go to Costa Rica like so many people are doing? Just you know, be in the rear with the gear. I look at the innocence of my children, but I realize that's a lie. They have no future if we don't beat this, if we don't stand against this. But you do think about it. You get frustrated. You get mad at the globalists for ruining your life, ruining your future, just by their absolute competitive nastiness. The worst people, the most intelligent psycho control freaks, compete with each other to get into power. And then they interbreed over hundreds of years. And a lot of psychopathic and sociopathic behavior is genetic. It's been linked directly to two genes. And so it's a super breed of sadists, control freaks, psychopaths, and armies of mercenaries that work for them who are so delusional now, they think some underground bunkers and some seed vaults are going to save them from all their GMO stuff. Their perfect Trojan horse, an invisible enemy you can't see that kills you slowly so no one can figure out where it's coming from. And then you find out that they call it soft kill and have written white papers on it publicly talking about how they're doing it to us. I mean, wow, that is hardcore. And it's like almost everybody I know is now having deformed children with, different organ problems, bone problems, all sorts of illnesses, intestinal illnesses, viral, bacterial, mutations, neurological disorders are just skyrocketing. Some neurological disorders have seen 10,000+% increases the last 30 years. Diabetes, 3,000, depending on the type, percent increase. Cancer, 2,000+%. I mean, they're hardcore killing us, man. And let me tell you something. I'm a human being. I'm just a man, a normal, but I am a man. And I get aggressive feelings. I can't hardly go to a mall anymore. I can't hardly go out in public because, man, if I see some 5-year-old who's clearly on chemotherapy with their hair falling out and their eyes shining so bright because you can tell they're going to die. You can see the death in their eyes because they're so alive. They had a whole future ahead of them. They had so much. And you idiots, when I break down like this, you little hard bastards online make jokes and say it's fake. I wish it was fake. Okay? Let me tell you something. I live in the real world. I'm taking on all this pain. I'm not rationalizing. I'm not denying. I know what's going on. I know what's going to happen to me. I know what's going to happen to my family. I'm sacrificing myself so we've got a chance when stuff gets so bad, you people won't be in denial anymore, that you would have at least been told. And you're going to have to pass it on verbally. This morning, I was researching and looking into governments erasing a voice off the web. I typed company software to erase a voice off the web and found Optimus Prime. I sent you a link to it, actually. You've got it over there. Why don't you pull it up? You type in the voice of Optimus Prime, most of the clips of it, even when it's the guy talking to people on YouTube, when they go up to, signing things and stuff at comic book conferences, his voice is erased because he has a contract with a record company for his voice, and it's being erased off the web because I knew that's going to be next. where they can literally hit a button on any of these big sites and your voice is gone. That's the type of censorship. That's what the next web is. That's internet too. That's the future. And we're being delisted everywhere. We're being blocked everywhere as the system tries to keep us from going viral. Which I should be glad, I guess, they're suppressing us to a certain point. Because I guess the next step will be just kill me. But you know what? I'd rather go total mega viral and force them to move their hand because I love life so much, I'm willing to give it up. I'm willing to have whatever monsters come at me out of the New World Order to deal with it because I'm tired of their soft kill, creeping death. I want to get them out in the open, moving against us instead of poisoning our food, poisoning our water, and doing all this to us and thinking it's funny. We've got to engage them in the info war and hammer them hard and get them off their timeline, which we're starting to do. It's like an arm wrestling match, and we've got the initiative. They had us pushed all the way down, but, you know, we're doing this for our families, and we gut it up, and we've got them all the way over, and they're really pushing back hard now. And we've got to just say, you know what? You're going down. We got to pound them down. We got to just, you know what? You're going down. It's not a question. It's a decision. You got to decide, you know what? I take all the fear. I take it all, and it makes me strong. Just whatever's coming, I'm in God's hands. Give it to me. I haven't given the number out yet, and I got all these guests coming up. I wanted to take calls. It's just that the quickening in my soul, the quickening in my heart is so incredible. I couldn't go to sleep last night. I was up till 2 in the morning. I jumped out of bed at 5:30 in the morning, and I'm just... It's all coming down. I mean, you can feel it, you can see it, you know it. And the judgment of our world it happens all the time. 20% to 30%, depending on which estimate you look at, it's in between 20 to 30% of the Cambodians were killed. U.S. government funded. Khmer Rouge was funded by Zbigniew Brzezinski. He brags about it. 22 million Germans died. Separate from war, 22 million Germans died. That was what following Hitler did for them. You were going to say something, Chris? Well, yeah. Well, I mean, actually, the one I sent you was one where they haven't erased it yet. But then I meant, yeah, there's a bunch. Like if you do the voice of Optimus Prime or the man that does Optimus Prime, you'll see the videos on YouTube. You'll see a bunch of them. When you try to play them, it has a notice. And it says this voice, this voice is the property. And it's even him at comic book conferences doing the voice, and the computer recognizes it, and it's not allowed to be out because they own his voice. And I mean, my point is that that's how they can shut down and just with this new web system, and then they admit with all these filters, they can shut down discussions, they can shut down whole voices. This is how they're going to come at people. So you better keep hard copies of everything I've talked about. You better keep your old technology. You better, invest in good old-fashioned printing machines, whatever, because I'm telling you. Well, I mean, Kindle is on record. We had Dr. Stallman on saying, no, they're building Trojan horses into everything, where they hit one button and thousands of Kindle books are erased, even ones you paid for. I mean, think about it. Yeah, you can use all this as a double-edged sword to get the word out, but the system isn't going to let that happen. These people kill folks for oil and money and power. They're ruthless, and only by realizing you can't reason with the New World Order, you can't have debates and discussions with them. They are crazy. And I need professors to do research on this. I actually did some searching and did actually find some papers that mention it going back more than 100 years. So it has been recognized. But why is there psychopathic tendency and mental illness tendencies in royalty and wealthy elites that tend to act like royalty and intermarry? Because genetically they're ruthless and don't have a normal conscience. And so they do rise to the top because they're like cancer in a body. They're malfunctioning. They're not full humans. They're actually subhuman. The people like Hitler was a subhuman. But you can be a subhuman black person, white person, Jewish person, Arab person. There's good people, there's bad people. But literally, they're not fully human. They don't have the conscience. And it is genetic. It's that bloodline's mean. Hey, I'm getting rid of these bulls. They keep attacking people. I'm going to get a breed of bull that aren't as vicious. I mean, it's simple. And they've been intermarrying, but more than that, the syphilis, The mercury, the lead, the arsenic that the alchemist and people would always give the elites, so DNA mutation. Turns out that the priest class was always feeding the royalty and even the higher priest class poisonous metals. The reason the global system is so psycho and crazy, even worse than the average psycho on the street, is that it is an inbred system and a culture that grew of people literally with microscopic worms eating their brains. That's what syphilis basically is. They're microscopic, worms, microbes, and they're just beyond insane. Just like the prince, the member of the royal house was Jack the Ripper out killing people. That's been confirmed now. I mean, he had syphilis. I mean, his brain was being eaten, and he was on arsenic to treat it, which makes you even crazier. So we have an elite who set up eugenics when most of them had syphilis. That's why all the mafia ended up living in Hot Springs, Arkansas. It was the top syphilis treatment center, so the Rockefellers were all down there too. I mean, they didn't, in the 30s and 40s, they were still completely psycho. Our whole world is governed by syphilitic crazies. A little over a year ago, I began to do a lot of research. For all intents and purposes, the New World Order might as well be space aliens. They might as well be vampires. They might as well be the devil, because I can't imagine a science fiction movie where you have a global elite who are so crazy they've got 9 out of 10 nuclear reactors leaking radiation. Just type that into a search engine. That's mainstream news. They're raising isotope levels, thousands of percentages, saying they're all safe. They've got troops using weapons that soft kill them. They're shooting everybody up with deadly vaccines, starting all these wars, creating GMO cross-species creatures everywhere that are infecting the entire biosphere while lecturing us all day about giving up our rights for the environment. And then I find the poetry of the nihilistic transhumanist, top globalist. I have it in my film Endgame. And they say, yes, to keep on willing, we the elite might blow the planet up just to be number one. Why, it'd be the greatest thing in history to blow the planet up and kill everyone. That would just end us. I would be the greatest ever. And then I found out that Lenin wrote stuff like that. And then here are transhumanists today writing stuff like that. I mean, it's a spirit, folks. It's death. It's cancer. And it thinks, well, I can just take over, so I'm the boss. Yeah, you can take over and screw everything up. I mean, anybody listening to this show could go home today and shoot their neighbors for no reason. Does that mean you got the power? A cop driving along could pull a family over and shoot them all in the head. Does that mean he's real powerful? No, it means you got a problem. It means you're screwed up. Oh, so you can take thousands of species and cross them with each other and release salmon that they admit will extinct all the regular salmon that are part insect into the ocean. I mean, bioweapons treaties aren't even followed, and these companies are all just infecting everything. And then when they infect you, they come and sue you, saying you stole their patent. And again, it's the boldness of these globalists. The people go, well, they're bold. Oh, so you came and trespassed on my farm, pulled up my corn that's natural and out of the natural seeds. But plants don't just have one daddy and one mommy. It can be 100 mommies and daddies. It's the pollen that mixes in. So you found less than 1% Monsanto genetics in my corn in a laboratory that you obviously infected my crop with. And now you got a court saying you're going to fine me $10,000 an acre, saying my entire crop was stolen from you. They're like, yep. So you're going to infect me. Like if you went to somebody's house and poured motor oil all over their carpet and then gave them a ticket and said, you owe me money because you trespassed. You're like, you're in my house pouring motor oil on the white carpet. And they're like, doesn't matter. The court's going to rule for me. All right, I know all I talk about is GMO now because I'm really getting, that's why they're so smug. That's why it's so funny to them. And I'm done. At 8 after, we're going to get Greg Palast on, and I'll just tell you, as long as your questions are for him about world events or whatever they are, we'll go.